This family has no idea there's a man living in their closet, watching their every move. How did he end up there, and what does he do at night? Find out in our recap of the movie Staring at Strangers. The TV show's preparations are in full swing. Camera operators, directors, and makeup artists are busy with their work. The show starts. The host informs the viewers that he has a very special guest today. The man's name is Damien. At a first glance, he seems like an ordinary person. Damien has worked in a furniture workshop for over 20 years and loved his job very much. One day, he arrives at his furniture assembly workshop. Damien's boss approaches him and urgently calls him into his office. Damien learns that he's being fired. Feeling upset, he returns to his workshop and silently packs his belongings. At some point, anger overwhelms him and he throws one of the machines into the ground before leaving the building. Damien approaches his car, takes out the keys, but in his nervousness he drops them, and they end up under the car. He runs across the factory grounds, pursued by one of his colleagues. Damien jumps into the back of a truck with a restored antique armoire and hides in it. Loaders pay and transport the piece to a client. Throughout the journey, Damien remains silent. Workers bring the closet into someone's house and place it on the second floor as instructed by the owner before leaving. When there's no one left in the room, Damien emerges from the closet. Hearing footsteps, he quickly hides under the bed. The homeowners, Lucia and her husband Feed, enter the room. Their daughter Maria also comes home. The mother tells Maria that this furniture once belonged to her grandfather. We return to the studio. The host is curious how Damien felt while hiding under the bed. He admits that he was very curious. At night, when everyone is asleep, Damien crawls out from under the bed and uses the bathroom. He roams around the house, looking at the sleeping people. He approaches the exit, but changes his mind and returns to hide under the same bed. In the morning, the alarm rings. After getting ready, showering, and having breakfast, the entire family leaves the house. Their uninvited guest emerges from under the bed, roams around the house, looks out the windows, then goes to the kitchen, opens the fridge and sits down to have a breakfast as if he's at home. After eating, he even washes the dishes. Not only his own, but all the dirty dishes in the house. At this moment, the studio audience bursts into laughter. Damien explains that washing dishes is very calming for him. But let's get back to the story. After breakfast, Damien explores the rooms and then starts playing music, changes into sportswear, moves one of the closets, and with his tools builds a small hiding place inside of it. Suddenly, Damien hears someone returning home and jumps back into the closet, hiding among the items. It's Lucia who has returned. She looks at the clean dishes in surprise, but assumes her husband or daughter must have done it. Soon, Feed and Maria return. Lucia learns that neither of them helped around the house, and this worries her. At this point, the studio host asks Damien why no one was looking for him. He confesses that he has no parents, family, or friends. The host wonders if Damien ever experienced claustrophobic episodes. He assures that, on the contrary, he enjoyed feeling invisible. Days pass like this. Damien lives in the armoire. When nobody's home, he comes out, closes all the windows with curtains, eats, drinks, washes dishes, cleans the house, makes the beds, and even repairs broken furniture. With each passing day, Lucia becomes more convinced that she has mental problems, as something strange is happening in the house. One day, Damien nonchalantly shaves in the bathroom, tidies up and then watches the TV. Hearing footsteps, he hides again. Lucia enters the house, looks at the clean dishes, and realizes she needs to see a psychiatrist. She takes her pills and goes to sleep. Lucia calls her mother and complains that since the old closet appeared, she feels a presence. Someone's running around the house while everyone's at work, and she doesn't know what to do. During the day, when nobody's home, Damien finds old letters and photos in a book. he discovers that Lucia had a twin brother. At this moment, a huge armoire is brought into the studio. The host explains that in her childhood, Lucia played in this closet with her brother George. Sadly, at the age of 8, George died from an allergic reaction. After that, strange things started happening. Everything they put in that closet would disappear. Chicken eggs, rabbits, chicks, anything edible. Lucia hoped she would find her brother in the closet one day. Ironically, it was Damien who was hiding in that armoire. One day, Lucia herself climbed into the closet and spoke to her late brother. She was certain that he was close by. The studio announces a 5-minute commercial break. Damien asks the host not to discuss Lucia's personal life, but the host responds that according to the show's rules, he'll do what it takes to keep the viewer's attention. One day, skipping school, Maria returns home with her friend Raul. Damien hides in the kitchen and overhears Raul demanding that Maria helps him sell illicit substances. Damien hears Raul making advances towards Maria, but doesn't intervene to avoid revealing his presence. At night, he sneaks into Maria's room, takes her phone and watches her videos. Morning comes and Maria can't find her phone anywhere. The family leaves the house and Damien emerges from the closet. He opens the front door, greets the neighbor and then watches the TV. This time it's a program about poisonous spiders. There's a knock on the door and Damien opens it for Raul. He invites the guy in and lies to him, claiming to be Maria's father. Damien tells him to stay away from Maria, and when Raul responds rudely, Damien attacks him. The terrified guy flees and Damien is quite pleased with himself. The studio interrupts the recording. Damien goes behind the scenes and enters the dressing room. Lucia appears behind him. She hugs him and leans against his shoulder. Together, they sing a children's song, and Lucia says to him, "Thank you." But let's continue our story. Every day, Lucia talks to her late brother, not suspecting that she's addressing Damien. He attentively listens to her but never responds. Lucia dreams of her imaginary friend becoming real. She lies on the bed and touches herself. Damien listens intently to every sound. In the studio, everyone bursts into laughter again. The host chides Damien for using Lucia's sincerity for his own purposes. But Damien starts arguing and drives all the viewers out of the studio. At that moment, they truly disappear. After that, the host disappears and Damien is left alone on the big stage. We see him rummaging through the closet with women's clothes, sniffing pillows and falling asleep on someone else's bed. In the meantime, the host returns to the studio. Damien declares that he will only talk to the journalist that his father respected, and reporter Iñaki immediately appears before him. Damien confesses to him that he protected Maria because he had a feeling for Lucia. A scandal erupts in the house. Maria scolds her father for raising a hand at her boyfriend, but Feed doesn't understand what she's talking about. Offended, Maria locks herself in her room and refuses to listen to anyone. Lucia calls her mother again and complains about family problems. One day, Damien finally decides to leave the house. He steps outside, greets the neighbor again, and returns. There, he smashes Maria's phone and throws it against the wall. On the weekend, Feed sees his wife and daughter off for errands and stays home. He plays music, undresses, takes a shower, and sings. Someone knocks on the door. Damien realizes that the man has invited his lover to the house. He slightly opens the closet door and peeks at them, then angrily punches the closet door. The loud noise startles Feed, but his friend doesn't notice anything suspicious. Feed decides to check the contents of the closet, but as you remember, Damien isn't hiding in the actual closet, but in a secret compartment behind it. Convinced that everything is fine, Feed returns to bed. Damien listens again as they enjoy themselves. In the evening, the couple eats in bed and drinks beer. Feed's lover is named Paula, and she asks him about his wife. Feed explains that he and Lucia met in the hospital because they both have allergies to wasps. Ironically, it was this allergic reaction that killed her twin brother. Feed's phone rings. It's his wife. wife. While they chat, the lover silently drinks beer. After the conversation ends, Paula casually brings up the topic of eliminating Lucia. She knows where to get wasps, though she immediately claims it's a joke. Damien confesses to the journalist that these words greatly troubled him. He realized that he had to intervene to save Lucia. At night, when the lovers are asleep, Damien comes out of the closet and watches them for a long time. This time, he doesn't wash the dishes. He just sits on the couch and ponders about something. In the morning, Feed sees his lover off, and Damien sits down at his computer and searches for information on how to make a trap for wasps. He takes a few empty plastic bottles and crafts a trap according to the instruction he finds online. He places leftover foods at the bottom of the bottles as bait. Damien leaves the ready traps outside and returns to the house. The bottles immediately start buzzing with wasps. As usual, Damien tidies up the house. However, he deliberately leaves some of the uneaten food near the trash bin and empties the caught wasps into the food. A car pulls up to the house, and Damien hides in the closet. Feed and Paula return. Soon, Damien hears them having fun again. Feed confesses his feelings to Paula, and after she leaves, he quickly makes the bed. He goes down to the kitchen to clean up, opens the trash bin, and a swarm of wasps flies out. The frightened man tries to escape them, but they sting him, and Feed has an allergic reaction. Damien sits in the closet and listens to his screams. The man starts suffocating. Then, Damien steps out of the closet, descends the stairs, and watches his suffering. Feed notices Damien and tries to say something, but the man is already running out of air. He meets his end due to an anaphylactic shock. For a while, Damien sits beside his body, not even reacting to the wasps crawling on his face. He hears a car entering the yard, going upstairs and returning to his closet. A few minutes later, Maria lets out a wild scream. The police arrive at the house, but they also fail to find Damien. He feels both almighty, like a god, and dangerous, like a poisonous spider. While nobody's home, he calmly shaves and washes up, then tells the journalist that the interview is over and disappears into the darkness. Lucia sits confused on the bed in her room. Her mother arrives to support her during this difficult time. They hug, and Lucia promises that she will get through this. When the woman goes to sleep, Damien comes out of the closet again. He looks at the sleeping Lucia, approaches her, gets closer, climbs onto the bed, and lies down next to her. The woman opens her eyes, but after a second, she closes them again. Check your closet right now and give us a like if you found a man in there. Let's see how many of you did.